Thank you very much. Bahut shukriya. I can verify that I have personally seen and met Sayyid Abu Bakr Saab. I have seen him alive.
He was around. He's here.
And he's here. So we can start once he is sitting with us on the panel. We cannot blame you because the coffee is really good. So we tend to have more and more on a tea break. आपका एक बार फिर बहुत शुक्रिया सबका to start this discussion. This is again close to many of our it's important but close to the heart. Of course, people who are involved with the practical journalism, misinformation. The whole world is fighting this war right now of misinformation. In the last session and the previous session, I had planned to keep the brief and the conversation short and then move on to the questions. And I think Madam here had a very reasonable question. We'll try to discuss more about it. But the thing you said about the comparison between being reliable and credible. So yes, of course, every honest journalism professional wants to be credible. But one thing which we have to explain before we dive into this discussion is another misunderstanding among the journalists is that the neutrality is something we strive for, which probably in the real world does not exist. It has to be not the objective journalism, not to be the neutral journalism, but journalism based on the facts and honesty, of course. So misinformation to meaningful conversations. Of course, I think we're having great conversations from yesterday. Dr. Shafiq, I had the honor to learn from him for many years. He was my teacher at the Punjab University Institute. So really a pleasure having you all on this panel, and we'll just move on to the discussion. But I want to say it's 11:57 from the audiences as well. If you have questions later when we get the chance, please, if you can keep them short, the questions. And also from our very respected panel guests, that if we can keep it brief so we can give everyone equal opportunity to have actually a meaningful conversation as per the topic says. So Vera Saiba, we can start with you because it's 2025 and it looks like that already what we have imagined what would happen in 2035 or 2040 or 2050, AI and the augmented reality concept, and then the war on the digital media, which is the competition and hunger to be the first person to report on a fact. You think this is becoming the biggest challenge right now, actually, for the scholars and for the professionals out there to deal with misinformation. Is this currently one of the biggest channel? Would you list it among the challenges we are dealing with right now?
First of all, thank you very much, ICA and Dr. Farasa, Dr. Salim, and the whole team behind this conference for giving me an opportunity and making me a part of this important and useful discussion, and also to Muhammad Junaid for very good and interesting start of the conversation. Um, I Actually, the question is that is it the biggest challenge we are facing? It is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing right now, which is misinformation, disinformation, and now there's malinformation. When you have the correct information, but you use it to for your own purpose, maybe, and to uh, uh, like for the sake of deform anybody's image, anything like that. So, yes, and I'm not saying it generally on the basis of my observation. Recently, because I'm working with UNESCO on media information literacy policy framework in Pakistan, and we had consultations all over the Pakistan. We went to Sindh, we went to Sargodha and Bahawalpur, then Gilgit and Peshawar, and my collaborators are also here. So we had very useful discussions, and whatever recommendations we collected from the different parts were, they all agreed on the aspect that this is the biggest challenge, because everybody at some point in time has faced it and has been a victim of misinformation, maybe at personal level or a professional level, both. So yes, to be very concrete, precise, and to the point answer to your question is yes. And that is again a research based answer. It's not my or yours observation and whatever we are saying on social media. And we just say that, yes, 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 we see a lot of misinformation. And we have, I think, recently witnessed that during the conflict we had,
Of course.
which is India Pakistan war, that how misinformation was circulated by the other country and how it penetrated all over the world. And then the Pakistan strategy, whatever we say about the media of Pakistan, whatever the observations we have, but at that point, I think we all believe that media played very responsibly, and we actually stop the way of misinformation to a great extent. I wouldn't say that like completely, but obviously the misinformation had less space to flow among the masses, because the government and the institutions were there to put the correct information in front of the people at that point, which was very important. So another thing which I can derive maybe from the situation is that if the state or institutions let the information flow freely, then there is a very less space for misinformation. So don't stop the information, let it flow. Uh, you have to ensure that information which is flowing is the correct information. And yes, the breaking news, the fever of breaking news, and telling the people that yes, we are the first to tell you this, had a great impact on the nature of information we provide to the audiences.
Right. So, Dr. Savera, there was this struggle for us to actually get the right to access the information. And now, yes, there is a fear among people when they have to pass on the information. They're scared and they're worried that it might be distorted. It might be taken into some other meaning, which can become, a danger for them. So, as you said, that do not stop the information, but that comes with a lot of responsibility. Dr. Shafiq, you've collaborated, as Dr. Savera also said, with UNESCO and WHO. You spent quality time in several other countries in process of learning. How the international bodies actually define the misinformation, and is it like different in different cultures and different countries according to their social fabric and according to their circumstances, as when we compare Pakistan, European society, and obviously the international scenario?
Thank you very much, Junaid, for this posing this very interesting question. And at the same time, I am very thankful to ICA, Dr. Firasat, Dr. Salim for inviting me over here and providing me with this opportunity to interact with this bouquet of scholars over here. Uh, as far as your question is concerned, it's very interesting to differentiate between misinformation and disinformation. As we know that while living in Germany, what I have learned that the Germans and the Europeans, they consider some piece of information a misinformed information if it is sent without having any misintent or disintent. If it is spreaded in the public echo chambers, then we consider it a piece of misinformation. And as far as the disinformation is concerned, when there is deliberately we spread a piece of information behind which we have some malified intentions, then we take it as a piece of disinformation. Misinformation is a big problem all over the world right now, because there are so many reasons, uh, behind this flood of and this mushrooming of misinformation around us. One basic reason is, right now we have abundance of information, plus we have very low levels of attention, because all the time we are having so many information in front of us, and we do not have enough time to check the facts behind every piece of information. So eventually, there are more chances that we become the victim of an event of misinformation. And second reason is social media platforms usually they support and they reward virality over veracity, truth. So eventually, there are more chances that we become the victims of misinformation, not only here in Pakistan, but also in the Western societies. We generally believe that in the Western countries, the people, they are more literate. Uh, yes, they are on when we say them see their literacy levels, they are good in having good literacy levels, school, university education. But as far as their media information literacy levels are concerned, they are quite poor compared to us, and even their social interaction is very low compared to the people who are living in this part of the world. So they are more prone to having to become the victims of misinformation. So this living in a period of digital and social and online media, the people both here in Pakistan and in this region and in the global south are having equally vulnerable like the people who are living in the global north to become the victim of.
Except you did your doctorate in Germany. They had established a disinformation lab as well in Germany.
The European scientists, they do not just act as a you know knowledge producers; they work as a knowledge broker over there. So they not only find out the reasons behind the incidents at the events of misinformation. They not only jot down the sources, not only unveil or reveal the motivations behind the pieces of information. They also draw out different strategies how to counter with them. So these labs are the perfect and permanent feature of every school of information over there, information and media studies department over there. And the scientists, they usually they produce such strategies, such manuals, which eventually help them to jot down and reveal different incidents of misinformation and how to counter it.
Can I add?
Sure, please go ahead.
Recently, we have seen also the example of UK, where there was a misinformation and there were so many riots and there was violence against Muslims. But then they investigated
Yeah.
and they came up with a solution. They punished the people who were responsible for that. So if there is a misinformation, there has to be a system. It's not just pick and choose that you like this person and you don't like this person and you ban this person and you don't want to ban this person. There has to be a mechanism. If there is misinformation is a worldwide phenomena and every country is facing that, but then they have the system to counter that and to tell the people that this is something wrong, and if you do this you will be like you're going to face the consequences. So I think that is also an important aspect, that's the difference between us and them.
So one of the books in the early days of 2006 and 7, one of the definition of newsworthy item was this: if a dog has bitten a human, that's not really a news. But if a human has bitten the dog,
If a dog has bitten a famous person, that it's always a news. Right from our childhood.
yeah, that's true. But there was another incident explained how strongly the big media had affected the minds of people. That there was this example given of a cold US town where there are people watching weather news, and the weather news says that there's a snow outside, there's a snowstorm, and it's almost impossible to go out. And there are two people watching it, and the one says that I just came out from outside. That's a lie, basically. There's no snow, there's no storm, nothing. The other person says, I trust what I'm watching on TV. Thank you very much. I will not go out. So this is the level of effect. And Abu Bakr Saab, the most wild lies are told about environment in this age. And we had biggest dignitaries in the world, starting from US and so many other countries, who are like climate denial is one of their favorite hobbies. They don't accept there is global warming. They don't accept the climate is changing fast. They don't accept that the weather is actually going into a complete disaster. The glaciers are melting. They don't understand and they don't agree with that. So even on these lies, it was taken into an account to actually take the biggest decision to, to come out and withdraw from the Paris Agreement. This much it can affect. So you've done so much work, and you're an international award-winning environment journalist as well. I think it is one of the most difficult jobs right now. How disinformation, misinformation, and the fake news is affecting your line of work and the area you've researched in. And is there still a hope and a room and chance that we can bring these people to a meaningful conversation and teach them that what is misinformation, what is disinformation?
Thank you so much, Janisa. I'm grateful to Dr. Farasat and everyone for inviting me to the
Oh,
ICA
you're welcome.
workshop. This ICA is one of the most leading communication events that are celebrated, organized globally, and I am currently studying at George Mason University in the US, where everyone talks about attending the ICA. It's that big, and I'm grateful to be part of it. With regards to disinformation or misinformation on climate change, so the people who are propagating climate disinformation, misinformation are funded by the fossil fuel lobbies, and the tactics used by the fossil fuel lobbies to confuse the public on climate change internationally, particularly in the US. These are the same tactics that were used by the tobacco lobby few decades before, to tell the people that tobacco does not cause cancer. So it's the same tactics used, and it works actually in the US. The reason being that it comes under the freedom of expression perspective. So they count freedom of expression to be bigger than anything else. Even if someone is telling incorrect information on climate change, that information does not get taken down from Facebook, from Twitter, because freedom of expression is holds more sanctity, even if the information is an outrageous lie. That is very unfortunate. And now the US has pulled out from the Paris Agreement for the second time. As I'm studying over there, we are very careful as international students not to criticize the government, because we know our visa can get revoked, we can be deported, and I don't know how ICE will treat us, and I won't even last for a day
It's a
in the
chaos.
detention center. I will prefer to come back. It's all right. Yeah. So it is very scary over there. An international student from Turkey who co-authored an op-ed, who was going to offer break her fast. She was handcuffed and taken by ICE,
We've seen-
and she just wrote an op-ed.
we saw the videos. It was
Yeah.
recorded on the CCTV.
Exactly. And no more writing about American policies on climate change while staying in the US, because it is very detrimental to the educational career of international students. Very unfortunate.
Right.
And the climate justice and the climate movement in the US has been taken aback. It has gone one step back because of the US policies, and people are now more concerned about the human rights because of massive deportation of migrants.
Okay. We'll move on to something interesting. We have Adib Yousafzai here. He's part of a international local news organization service. But Adib, I have a request for you. Can I have the photo you just showed me a while ago when we were having the coffee? I'll try to actually show everyone this photo on his phone rather than putting it on the screen. I don't know how many people will be able to see that, but this is Deep from, like, I don't know, 10 years ago. He's standing with me as a kid, so he's made this big. He's become a practical professional journalist. He visited Jio's head office in Karachi, and he was a very, very nice kid, very smart, looked like a fast bowler at that time. But I did not know that he'll actually become a journalist. So Deep, बहुत आपको खुशामदीद यार. Very nice to meet you here. And all I can brag now that he probably took the advice I gave him several years ago. Deep, पाकिस्तान में सबसे बड़ा मसला हमारे local channels के साथ ये है, international channels के साथ. And abhi bhi in recent times, in 2023, 8th October, when the whole new conflict emerged between Palestinians and Israel, I was running Chicago Marathon in Chicago. We were actually running the marathon, and we saw different countries' flags, and there were people enchanting about the conflict started because the attacks initiated by both sides. later around that conflict, it is so pertinent and so important and so problematic at so many levels that the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had posted and given a briefing that how Grand Mufti was actually responsible in advising Hitler about going into Holocaust and everything. So Time magazine, very obviously famous publication, had to publish a detailed backgrounder of the history and explaining that how it was completely a fake news. It was based on complete false information by obviously Netanyahu and his team, that no such thing happened. No such advice or information was handed over to Hitler. They had a meeting, but he was not the one to suggest it. So before any other Asian or Arab or any other publication could come up, Time magazine did the whole story on it and declaring Netanyahu's brief and stance false. سو پاکستان میں تو بہت بڑا مسئلہ ہے ادیب. لوکل نیوز پہ ڈیلی کنزمپشن بہت زیادہ ہے. 1 گھنٹے میں 100 خبریں آ رہی ہوتی ہیں. اس میں فیکٹ چیکنگ آئی نو بہت ہو رہی ہے. لاہور میں ہو رہی ہے, کراچی میں ہو رہی ہے, جنگ گروپ جیو میں کر رہے ہیں لوگ, آپ کے ادارے میں کر رہے ہیں, اور آپ کے ادارے کو ایک انٹرنیشنل ایج بھی حاصل ہے. کتنا مشکل ہے اس وقت یہ, اور کتنا آپ ڈیل کرتے ہیں مس انفارمیشن سے, اینڈ اینی ایگزامپل یو کین گیو ویئر یو ہیڈ لائک a piece of misinformation or disinformation and you were on the verge or edge of like publishing it and sending it to people, اور آپ کو بعد میں یہ ریئلائز ہوا کہ اگر ہم یہ بھیج دیتے تو یہ خبر جعلی تھی یا جھوٹی جو معلومات ہے اس پر مبنی تھی.
اور سب سے پہلے میں ڈاکٹر فراست کا, باقی جو انتظامیہ ہے ان سب کا بہت شکریہ ادا کرنا چاہتا ہوں. اس کی وجہ یہ ہے کہ فیکٹ چیکنگ عام طور پہ تو بہت زیادہ ہو رہی ہے. ہم دیکھ رہے ہیں بہت سارے ادارے جو ہیں وہ آج کل بہت تیزی سے فیکٹ چیکنگ کر رہے ہیں, لیکن کچھ مسائل ہیں جیسے سوشل میڈیا پہ خاص طور پہ بہت ساری چیزیں پھیل رہی ہوتی ہیں, لیکن پالیسیز کی وجہ سے وہ فیکٹ چیک نہیں ہو پاتی ہیں. آپ نے جس طرح سوال کیا, بہت ساری خبریں ہوتی ہیں. میں ریسنٹ کچھ ایگزامپلس دینا چاہوں گا کیونکہ پریکٹیکلی میں فیکٹ چیک کرتا ہوں تو ایگزامپل سے زیادہ اچھی طرح سے میں سمجھا پاؤں گا. ریسنٹلی ایک ٹک ٹاکر تھی بڑی مشہور, ثنا یوسف, بہت زیادہ وہ خبر پھیلی, بہت زیادہ اس پہ ڈسکشن ہوئی, لیکن ایک ٹائم آیا جب پنجاب پولیس نے, اسلام آباد پولیس نے یہ اعلان کیا کہ ہم نے مرڈرر کو گرفتار کر لیا ہے. اسی دوران ایک تصویر بہت زیادہ وائرل ہوتی ہے اور لوگ کہنے لگتے ہیں کہ یہ مرڈرر ہے. ایک اچھی تصویر ہے, ایک نوجوان ہے, اور وہ تصویر اتنی پھیلی کہ بہت سارے اداروں نے مجھ سے رابطہ کیا. اس کی وجہ یہ کہ بہت سارے جرنلسٹ دوست ہیں, کولیگز ہیں مختلف اداروں میں, انہیں پوچھا کہ کیا یہ مرڈر درست ہے, یہ بندہ ہے کہ نہیں ہے. اب میں نے بھی تصویر دیکھی تھی اور میں نے کہا کہ ہے, کیونکہ اوبیسلی بہت زیادہ تصویر جو ہے سرکولیٹ کر رہی تھی. لیکن میں نے ایک ٹرائی دیا ریورس امیج کا. ریورس امیج پہ مجھے کچھ نہیں ملا. میں نے پھر فیس بک پہ کی ورڈز جو ہے وہ سرچ کیے اور اس پہ جا کے کمنٹس دیکھے مختلف لوگوں سے. جب میں نے دیکھا کہ کمنٹ میں ایک بندے نے لکھا ہے کہ یار یہ ایک اس نے ایسی کمنٹس لکھا, یہ بیچارہ ویسے ہی اس میں پھنس گیا ہے. میں حیران کہ یہ کیسے پھنس گیا ہے. میں نے وہ سرچ کیا, شروع کیا, پتہ چلا کہ وہ ایک اسٹوڈنٹ ہے یا ایک سوشل ورکر ہے, پولیٹیکل ورکر ہے, اور پنجاب میں رہتا ہے, اور وہ مرڈر نہیں ہے, ایک عام بندہ ہے. تو میں نے 2 چینل جو اس ٹائم میرے ساتھ کانٹیکٹ میں تھے, میں نے ان کو بھیجا, میں نے کہا یہ نہیں ہے, پلیز آپ یہ نیوز جو ہے رن نہ کریں. لیکن اسی دوران جس چینل نے رابطہ کیا تھا, جن دوستوں نے رابطہ کیا تھا, انہوں نے وہ خبر چلا دی تھی, ایون سوشل بھی کر دی تھی, ہر جگہ پہ وہ پبلش ہو گئی تھی. اس لڑکے سے رابطہ بھی کیا, بات چیت بھی ہوئی. پتہ چلا کہ کچھ دوستوں نے ازراہ مذاق کہہ لیں یا بعض اوقات لوگ کرتے ایسا ہیں کہ یہ وہ بندہ ہے. کچھ دوستوں نے وہ خبر پھیلائی اور وہ اتنی پھیلی کہ ابھی تک صبح میں سرچ کر رہا تھا, میں نے کہا یہ خبر ہے کہ نہیں, وہ اب بھی موجود ہے, وہ تصویر بھی موجود ہے. اسی طرح ایک اور ایگزامپل, ہمارے بہت ہی معتبر جرنلسٹ ہیں پاکستان میں, بہت اچھا کام کرتے ہیں, میں خود ان سے سیکھتا ہوں. ایک ٹائم میں ایک ویڈیو آئی تھی ہمارے سابق آرمی چیف کی فرانس سے, کافی زیادہ وہ ویڈیو پھیلی. وہ ویڈیو فیک بھی تھی, اس کو ہم نے ڈیبنک بھی کیا, کام بھی کیا. کافی زیادہ وہ فیکٹ چیک پہلا فیکٹ چیک تھا میرا, جو لوگوں نے بہت زیادہ شیئر کیا. عام طور پہ مرچ مسالے والی خبریں جو ہیں وہ بہت پھیلتی ہیں, لیکن فیکٹ چیک کی خبریں نہیں پھیلتی ہیں. اس کے بعد ایک خبر آئی کہ فرانس نے ایک شہری ہے, افغانی شہری ہے, اس کو ڈپورٹ کر کے افغانستان بھیج دیا اور جرمانہ بھی عائد کر دیا اور ایک تصویر بھی لگا دی گئی, اور تصویر کے پیچھے صرف ایک دو چیزیں ہیں, ایک ہارٹ بنا ہوا ہے, ایک MU بنا ہوا ہے بس. میں نے کافی زیادہ جو ٹیکٹکس ہیں, ٹرکس ہیں استعمال کی کہ پتہ چلے کہ یہ لڑکا کون ہے, کیونکہ صرف ایک شہری کا نام آ رہا ہے. تو کرتے 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 مجھے پتہ چلا کہ وہ ایک ساؤتھ وزیرستان کا ایک لڑکا ہے جو اس ٹائم دبئی میں ہے, مزدوری کے لیے گیا, اور پتہ چلا کہ اس کا اس ویڈیو سے کوئی تعلق نہیں ہے. میں نے ان سے کانٹیکٹ کیا, بات چیت کی, تفصیلی بات کی. اس کو میرے رابطے کے بعد پتہ چلا کہ اس طرح کی تصویر پاکستان میں وائرل ہے, اور یہ کہہ کے وائرل کی جا رہی ہے کہ ویڈیو اس لڑکے نے بنائی ہے. وہ لڑکا رونے لگا, اس نے کہا میں خود مزدوری کے لیے آیا ہوں, مجھے کوئی مسئلہ نہیں ہے, دبئی میں مجھے کوئی کچھ نہیں کہہ سکتا, لیکن ساؤتھ وزیرستان میں وہاں پہ میری فیملی ہے, اس کو کوئی کچھ نہ کہہ دے. جب اس صحافی سے رابطہ کیا, اس کو بتایا, بہت سارے لوگ ہیں جو اس طرح کی چیزیں پھر ایکسیپٹ بھی کرتے ہیں. انہوں نے اسی وقت ویڈیو سے وہ تصویر ہٹائی اور بات ایکسیپٹ کی, سارا کچھ کیا. تو یہ جو تصویریں ہیں سوشل میڈیا پہ ایک بندہ مذاق میں یا کسی بھی طرح پوسٹ لگا دیتا ہے, اور وہ مختلف طریقوں سے وائرل ہوتے 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 پتہ نہیں کہاں کہاں تک, آپ دیکھیں مین اسٹریم میڈیا تک, معتبر
So Adeeb, it means it can actually make or break someone's life. آپ ایک مس انفارمیشن کی بنیاد پہ کسی کی زندگی تباہ ہو سکتی ہے. ہم میں سے کوئی بھی ہو سکتا ہے جس کو شک کی بنیاد پہ ہماری تصویر اس سلسلے میں جاری کر دی جائے that this person is responsible for this crime, and it might be retracted in few hours or an apology presented, but جتنے لوگوں کے ذہن میں وہ بات بیٹھ جائے گی, it will almost become impossible to reverse it sometimes, and yeah, whatever the damage it will cause.
ذہن کے ہاں بیٹھنے کے علاوہ دیٹ انفارمیشن اسٹیز دیئر فار ایور, nobody deletes it, اور لوگوں کے پاس وہ رہتی ہے. So whenever you talk about something, they have that reference and they present that to you, that you, this was information about you, yeah, you said this and you did this and this and this and this. So that misinformation or the information which is incorrect stays there forever on social media. باقی جگہوں پہ تو پھر کہیں آپ ادھر ادھر کر سکتے ہیں, but that damage which has been caused, اس کی جو ہے نا پھر بھرپائی نہیں ہوتی.
بالکل صحیح ہے. ڈاکٹر شفیق, if we say that these things, misinformation and the lack of meaningful conversations, disinformation, fake news, false narratives, false information, all these things feed for the propaganda, and if we talk about propaganda, so is it right to say that whatever happened before and around World War II and after, and what was the thought process of Goebbels, is he still alive in this process? Because there are so many campaigns of false information and misinformation, which obviously leads into a big propaganda, and even the wars were fought on the basis of false information. We have example of Iraq war.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Misinformation is not latest phenomena. It has been among the human beings right from the beginning of humanity and over here in this planet. So, but right now, why it's getting more power and why it's taking more ground among us is due to the these latest electronic media innovations, particularly televisions, and social media and digital media. They have really acted as the catalyst to give deep grounds to misinformation among the human echo chambers. So but the problem is that, like, being as like I want to connect this discussion with the actual topic of this regional hub and even the main conference which is taking place over there in the United States. It's like how research can help debunk different misinformation, events of disinformation and misinformation. I think researchers right now over here in Pakistan, they are playing their role to some extent. They are exploring different events, different incidents of misinformation which are taking place on different social media platforms, on digital platforms, on even on mainstream media. But unfortunately, they are not getting it published, or they are not getting it documented on known and reputed and established research platforms of the world. So it's very unfortunate. So I think even though they are doing very good work, they are doing very, sometime whenever I see a thesis, a research paper, which is, just, trashed into a library, or which is just, published in a very low quality journal. So I personally feel that it's not, we are not going in the right direction.
Yes.
So I think we should get published in reputed journals, and we should present such work in established journalism conference platforms. And one very important thing is that we should not keep this knowledge just restricted to ourselves. We should work as, information brokers. We should use the platform of science communication, political communication, and we should, spread this type of findings of such research studies on different platforms, latest platforms of podcasting. Why don't we go for doing a podcast over a recent research paper which has been published in some good journal?
Of course.
And why don't we, disseminate and spread the findings of a recent good research project? Like recently, Dr. Savera, she did a wonderful project on MIL, Media Information Literacy in Pakistani Society. So I want to, find the findings of this type of good initiatives
Right.
on social media platforms, on
Interesting.
podcasting, on op-ed pages of newspapers. So this is how I think research can help us.
Right, Dr. Savera, as Dr. Shafiq mentioned, if the goal is to define role of research in fostering informed discourse, what are the current challenges to actually you have encountered in promoting informed discourse in your work? Because Pakistan goes through this dilemma as well. We had this discussion with one of the very senior presenters in the past, and they said we do the all hot issues all over the year, and 1 month I chose to do series. As Dr. Shafiq said, there should be a podcast on latest research papers. He said we did a series on education, economy, crime, social disparity, and he said no one even watched that show. So 11 months he was hit on every other thing, but that 1 month which he thought he's doing a good service for the nation, for the viewers, for the people of this country, nobody cared. Nobody wanted to watch. They thought it's boring.
Um, I'll talk about like three things.
Okay.
The first thing is, before coming to your point, um, the thing is to see that why misinformation or disinformation is there, like why people are relying on that. I mean, they're actually relying on misinformation, disinformation. First of all, your political elite use misinformation to get their vote bank, to have their social capital. And unfortunately, they generate that social capital on the basis of misinformation. They create polarization in the society. And because the people believe in the ideologies more, and they believe in the people more rather than the verified and correct information, they think that if this is coming from somebody they believe in, the information has to be correct. So first of all, the first thing is that there is a political elite in your society which is actually creating misinformation, and they are spreading in the masses for their own benefits. Second thing, it's not just your political elite, it's your social setup as well. I just want to quote a very small incident here, that how misinformation is affecting us. We are not even recognizing that fact. In my son's school group, there was an information that there's a boy who had open heart surgery. It was about 15-year boy, and he was his batch mate. He was intelligent boy, and there was a news that on his Instagram story, there was a story that that boy is going through a heart surgery, open heart surgery. He has three arteries blocked, and he's in a coma, and this and that. All the mothers were very upset. We started reciting Ayat Karima immediately, and everybody was praying for that boy. And then there's a conversation on Instagram going on by his family that yes, he's getting better, his surgery is done, this, whatever. But that 1.5 day was very crucial for everyone, because I think everybody who's sitting here, that your heart goes with that. Next day, abruptly, there was a story by the boy that my cousin did that prank and it was all false. This was not true. I'm completely fine. This is one dilemma, that the people, the boy, like a 15-year-old people of your society, whom we consider teenage, whom we consider next generation, Generation Z, and they're going to change the world. They are going to change. They are changing the world in this way. And then there was attitude by the mothers, which was very shocking for me. I mean, ठीक है, this is something that we actually believe that Allah करे ये prank ही हो and that boy is safe. But then there's an attitude that no, but that's okay. It was just a one thing they did, but thank God that boy is fine. And this is the misinformation. Yes, we should tell the boys not to do it, but that's fine. That's okay. But that's not fine.
It is.
That should not be fine. You have to tell your kids there and then that it is not fine. If you let these kind of behaviors prevail, if you let these kind of behaviors not going to stop these behaviors right from the beginning, then you will see the society the way you are seeing it today.
Absolutely.
So this is a dilemma. Don't think that this is Hai Masoom Si Shararat. This is not Masoom Si Shararat. This is not. For me, it is not acceptable. If anybody, even if it's my boy, he's doing that, he knows the consequences of that. Then we had no way to verify the information because mother was not in the group. And still we don't know what was the truth. Now, coming back to the point of research, thing is that we need to understand few things very clearly, that yes, we need to have more research, more collaborations, more academic and industry linkages when it comes to media information and literacy, because we are standing at a point, research to bahut dur ki baat hai, we are at a point when we have to make people realize that media literacy exists and we need it. I have seen so many people talking about in the consultations that we don't have a good literacy rate. We have like 2.5 crore bacche out of school and you're talking about media literacy. We have to talk about literacy first. So yes, that's another challenge
Very
that
important.
you need to know that how you're going to make people aware about the challenges of misinformation and disinformation. Most of the misinformation and disinformation comes from the people who are using it on daily basis and through WhatsApp. Every day you wake up with a story on a WhatsApp and after like 2 hours you know that this is not true. Even we get sometime we get WhatsApp from my father, and because it's from my father's side, I was believe, yeah, this is true, and then there a message comes by him, no, I have checked, it's not true. Or your brother has told me that don't spread it, it's fake. So these are the challenges which we are facing, and what we can do as an academia and a research, we have to talk, we have to have linkages, we have to have collaboration. Don't work in isolation.
Right.
Don't think that we can do anything in isolation. We have to collaborate, we have to come up together, we have to work on that. And then there is no one fit rule for everything. We cannot have anything ready-made. We cannot borrow the models of others. We have to have, because it's a very local thing. We have local issues. We have to have a local approach. Then we have to have big datas. We have to study the datas, that what are the behaviors of the people, how people react, what type of information penetrates, what type of misinformation get more views, what type of misinformation, like it's all about studying and researching and then making it public. I completely agree with Dr. Shafiq Saab that we need to make these things public. I was searching on internet about media literacy in Pakistan, and hardly I think I got one research paper published, and that was by Dr. Shafiq and his team. I couldn't find much of the resource, and then I thought that yes, we need to work on that. So we have to research can bridge lot of gaps in your society, but you need to realize the importance of research first.
Absolutely.
You need to realize that how it can help you in preventing misinformation. Because हमें तो बुखार है, because we think that if we spend time on verifying the information, तो information का तो time ही निकल जाएगा.
Absolutely. Dr. Savira, thank you for sharing the examples as well. Also for everyone present here, we are going to correct the schedule from this session onwards. So we'll close this discussion at 12:40, not right now. So we want to give like ample time to the question answer session as well. And also that will also end before 1 p.m. So we want to correct the timing from here onwards, because we had some disturbances in the timing earlier. The lunch and prayer break will start exactly at 1 p.m. That's the important announcement. I'm going to go to Abu Bakr Saab, and then we'll actually eventually give time for the questions. Abu Bakr Saab, recently we going through this crisis now with the aviation industry, whatever has been happening with the plane crashes, plane incidents. So right before the Pakistan Super League final, there was this flight which was flying from Karachi to Lahore, and it came on the runway and then had to take off again. I had a lot of friends in that. Prominent personalities were there. Asad Umar, Adnan Siddiqui, several other people were on that flight, and then it took off again and went back to Karachi just last month, basically in the month of May. So everyone on that plane basically thought they were going to die, but somehow everything went fine eventually. And then we had a plane crash in India. So I was reading this piece of information which was directly linking all such growing number of airplane incidents with the climate change, with the global warming, with whatever is happening to the weather of this world. So what are your thoughts on that? Is there like a correlation right now? And how environmental journalists can actually help the mainstream media and newspapers and television, and obviously group of scholars as well, to actually work on that awareness basically for everyone around?
Thank you so much for this question. With regards to airplane crashes and its linked to climate change, nothing concrete has come up so far that establishes the direct link, because many crashes are happening in the US itself.
Right.
And from there, scientists, no one is talking about that. With regards to other aspect of environmental journalism, and I have developed one or two slides for reference that I want to show to the audience.
Sure, please.
If you can pull up the presentation, if that's okay, Dr.
We
Firasit.
can briefly show that, of course.
Yeah.
They have it, yes. It's coming on.
Yeah. So this is one story that I did, and 1 second. Yeah. Can you move further? Let me show you. Let me show you. Yes. So this is a story I did for Tribune on Lahore is changing, but surely not
Of
for
course,
good.
yeah.
I wrote to a person on Twitter that, can anyone help me with the satellite imagery of Lahore? A person, a GIS expert from Canada, reached out to me that yes, I can do it for free for you. That's wonderful.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and he did this for me, showing how the
This is all the trees we have eaten up.
green cover, exactly, and they have been reduced due to horizontal expansion in the form of housing societies and
Right.
expansion of roads. And then this is the increase in concrete cover at the same time. So the point is that we don't have to do everything all by ourselves. Let experts do the talking. Let experts do the work for you. And there are many committed people who would want to do the work if we reach out to them. All
Right.
we have to do is to write one email. And this is what my experience is. And I have observed in my career that if we reach out to someone with a request, they will respond by all means. You write an email to Dr. Adil Najam, he will respond to you.
He's an environmental engineer,
Yeah,
a
it
very
is-
good friend of ours.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that I send him an email and he's going to ignore it. Never. It will never
Of
happen.
course, interesting.
And there's one more thing. So, environmental journalism helps to shape the policy discourse. It informs the policymaker. So if anyone thinks that, whatever, we write as journalists, or whatever, Junaid does on Geo, and no one cares, that is totally incorrect, because whatever he's talking about, whatever we are writing, everyone, those in the power corridors, the secretaries, the prime minister, the army chief, everyone takes a notice of it.
Yeah, of course.
So I did a story on the national voter policy for Dawn in the Sunday US magazine. And the morning I woke up, I had over 435 likes, and I realized that Arif Alvi had tweeted my work.
Interesting.
So I never tagged him. I never did anything. He read the story, and he automatically he got sensitized and he tagged me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that is how things have to be done. We have to write factual pieces, and we have to stand on the shoulders of giants. We have to rely on good experts and let them do the talking, and then let the magic happen then.
So we don't stop our work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the key, right? Interesting, very interesting. I think anyone wants to have more access to this material. Abu Bakr Saab has done some good work. Shafiq Saab, and then Adeep, just last 1 minute for both of you who want to contribute to anything.
We should listen to Adeep Javedani.
No, it can't be complete without you.
So I think Abu Bakr has pointed out a very important point. we should all, and before him, Dr. Savera has also pointed out that this type of activities and actions, they should be collaborative in nature. Like what happened 2 weeks ago, I was used to listen such words from our policy makers who were saying that Pakistan is among the top 10 countries which are most affected by the climate change. And I was whenever I heard it, I said that why they are saying like that. Pakistan is the number one country. And then because most of the policymakers and even our minister, Dr. Shair Rahman, she was quite unaware about this fact. And then I made a social media
So
post on
interesting.
that, and I said that according to the German Watch report of 2025, Pakistan is the number one country. And eventually, I received a phone call from the Shair Rahman's office, and they were asking that please give us that report. And I told them that this report was issued in the month of February, and from the February till this June,
My
I'm
God.
again and again I'm
Of course.
hearing that, listening that on television that Pakistan is among the top 10. You should be changing our. We should need to change our narratives, and
Yeah.
we should say that. So I think. Again, I'm pointing out this collaborative type of actions that we need to have right now. The researchers, the journalists, the policymakers, we should need to make communities of practice,
Absolutely.
communities of care to actually counter the misinformation, disinformation, and stay informed about the issues which
Very right.
we are right now
Right.
experiencing over here.
Right. Nadeep, any last suggestion you want to give?
चीज़ शेयर करना चाहूँगा। मैडम मेरी टीचर रही हैं, इन्होंने बात की अभी रिसर्च से मुतालिक, और कि वेरिफिकेशन के लिए हम रिसर्च नहीं करते हैं, और लोग बहुत ज़्यादा, आपको पता ही है, होता यह है कि चीज़ बहुत ज़्यादा आसान है। सोशल मीडिया हो, चाहे न्यूज़ आउटलेट्स हो, खबरें जैसे ही आती हैं हम बहुत ही आसानी से फैक्ट चेक कर सकते हैं। शायद आप लोगों ने भी कोशिश की हो, जैसे एआई बहुत ज़्यादा कॉमन है, लोग अक्सर चीज़ें शेयर करके कहते हैं कि एआई इज़ वेरी डेंजरस, लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा यूज़फुल भी है और बहुत आसान भी है। मैं 2017 से लेके अब तक फैक्ट चेक करता आ रहा हूँ, और आज तक मैंने किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म या किसी भी जो टूल्स इस्तेमाल होते हैं, मैंने किसी भी पेड वर्जन को इस्तेमाल नहीं किया, मैं हमेशा फ्री वर्जन इस्तेमाल करता हूँ। इसका मतलब है कि हर यूज़र, सोशल मीडिया यूज़र जो है वो इसको इस्तेमाल कर सकता है।
ठीक।
एक मुख्तसर खबर जिसके लिए आपको टूल का भी पता चल जाएगा, सोशल मीडिया पे एक वीडियो शेयर हो रही थी जिसमें बॉडीज जो हैं वो हैंग हैं और प्लास्टिक में रैप हैं। लोगों ने एक स्टोरी बनाई कि फ़लस्तीन में नौजवानों को वहाँ पे छत से लटका के मारा जा रहा है, और वो बॉडीज जो हैं वो हिल रही हैं, और ऐसा दिखाया जा रहा है कि बहुत ज़्यादा जुल्म हो रहा है। और उस वीडियो का मुझे कोई क्लू नहीं मिल रहा था। आप सब भी ट्राई कर सकते हैं, सोशल मीडिया पे जब भी कोई चीज़ नज़र आए, एआई टूल्स जैसे कि ग्रोक है एलोन मस्क की तरफ से, मुख्तसर वहाँ पे जाके ग्रोक को बताएं कि सोशल मीडिया पे इस तरह की वीडियो है, ये चीज़ें हैं, उसमें प्लास्टिक में रह बॉडीज़ हैं वो हिल रही हैं, क्या सोशल मीडिया, इंटरनेट, कहीं पे भी कोई भी फैक्ट चेक हुआ है, कहीं पे ये वीडियो मौजूद है, वो आपको बता देगा। मैंने ग्रोक को कहा, ग्रोक ने फौरन
Right.
मुझे लिंक दिया। लिंक देने के बाद मैंने फिर लोगों को बताया कि
Right.
ये झूठ है और ये जस्ट प्रॉप्स हैं।
Adeeb is right to some extent, but this is what I was explaining when I had the chance to talk, that this whole Grok thing and everything actually miserably failed during India-Pakistan conflict. And even Indian people on the social media were bashed by Pakistanis that why don't you go and ask Grok now? Because वो शायद नया है, उसके लिए अभी वो differentiate नहीं कर पाया. So at 12:45 we'll start taking the questions. But two things I want to say. I don't know when will I be on the mic again. This time coming back to college, thanks to Dr. Salim Abbas and Dr. Farasat. It's been nostalgic since yesterday because I came through the back of this building by parking my car, and I just went through the Lucas Center. So I've not been able to get that out of my head. In 2003, 4, 5, we played there. We spent a lot of time, and there is like a big cafe or something for students and for the faculty and staff. And there is so much food out there in the main ground as well. During our time, there was no such food here, and once there was this company which brought to serve pizza to the students, and we were really excited that day. But the teacher, I think it was Cheryl Burke, if someone here knows her and remembers her, she said one each. And we said, like, one pizza each? He said, no, one pizza slice each. And that slice was smaller than my 3-year-old nephew's hands. So now there is, mashallah, much more stalls and cafes and everything going on. And second thing, which I want to say is that this slide and several slides were shared by Abu Bakr Saab. Just last week, I was having this discussion with my colleagues and friends. And I love Lahore. I miss Lahore. I was born here. I studied here. But this is beautiful as well. But it's also not that Lahore. There is so much concrete here, and there are so many bridges. There are so many underpasses, so much cement and brick. And I don't know who will come and rescue this, because we've gone to other countries. So many of you have traveled. Shafiq Saab spent plenty of time in Germany. I've been to several of these European countries. And alone in Paris, there are 400 spots. Even if you're a billionaire or just a normal French citizen, you cannot make any change without informing and getting the approval from the cultural administration. It's national heritage. It's an asset. It's same as it was 100 years ago. It's same as it is now in 2025. Have these nations not progressed? Are they not developed nations? Do they not have facilities? They do have. But they have not actually destroyed the beauty of their country and cities and everything. But it's happening to Lahore. Great work being done by administration. But I think they've forgotten the importance of keeping the original historic value of the city intact, unfortunately. I don't know who will fix that, but we'll try to have a discussion about it at some point. We can take on some suggestions, and Dr. Savera can...
Yes.
have a last
And just a one-liner, because there's no cushion around the Lahore now. There's no greenery. There are not trees. So
Yeah.
when you're like in Burki or Bedia, you get on Google Maps a Starbucks in India. So you get to know that it's 20 minutes away from here. Unfortunately.
Questions, Ji. Keep your questions short so we can get maximum and the answers as well. Sure, please go ahead.
आई जस्ट वांट टू एड मैडम, आप तो जो लोग लिटरेट नहीं है उनकी बात करती हैं. मीडिया लिटरेसी जो है ये उन लोगों के लिए भी ज़रूरी है जो लिटरेट हैं. हमारे साथ एक कुलीग हैं, टेन्योर प्रोफेसर है मैथमेटिक्स में. वो यूनिवर्सिटी के एक ग्रुप से स्टेटमेंट कॉपी करके दूसरे ग्रुप में शेयर कर देते हैं और दूसरे ग्रुप से कॉपी करके तीसरे. तो मैं उनसे हमेशा कहता हूँ कि
मिलवाएं
आप
हमसे.
डीन बनने वाले हैं, वाइस चांसलर बनने वाले हैं, भाई ये आपका काम नहीं है, ये हमारा काम है. तो हम अपना काम करने दें, आप अपना काम करें. विदाउट वेरिफिकेशन अगर आप एक ग्रुप से स्टेटमेंट कॉपी करके दूसरी जगह शेयर करेंगे तो ये बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाएगा. हमारे एक दोस्त हैं, आजम है, वो कहता है कि ये मीडिया लिटरेसी और कम्युनिकेशन बच्चों को स्कूल में पढ़ाना चाहिए, क्योंकि जब तक स्कूल में बच्चों को नहीं पढ़ाएंगे, क्योंकि वो यूजर है, मेन यूजर है, तो वहां से ये ग्रो करके तो
Thank you.
आएगा.
Dr.
I
Savera.
just want to add. पढ़े लिखे लोगों को ज्यादा जरूरत है. जो पढ़े लिखे नहीं है उनको मेरे ख्याल से अभी इतना जरूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि पढ़े लिखे लोग ज्यादा
खैर है
नुकसान कर रहे हैं.
अच्छा, इसमें सिर्फ आई जस्ट वांट टू ऐड कि ये वाली बात आपकी बिल्कुल ठीक है. दिस इज आवर प्राइम रिकमेंडेशन एज वेल कि मीडिया लिटरेसी जो है इसको स्कूल लेवल से शुरू होना चाहिए. मीडिया लिटरेसी और सिविक एजुकेशन दोनों वैसे आपके स्कूल लेवल से आपके प्राइमरी कोर्स का हिस्सा होना चाहिए, एंड वी वर्किंग ऑन दैट टू. दूसरी आपने बात की कि मीडिया लिटरेसी आपकी बात से आई कम्प्लीटली अग्री. मीडिया लिटरेसी सबके लिए ज़रूरी है, चाहे वो लिटरेट है चाहे वो इलिटरेट है. इलिटरेट अपने तरीके से मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन फैलाता है, और जो लिटरेट है उसका अपना तरीका और अपनी इन्फॉर्मेशन है. सो आपकी पूरी सोसाइटी को ओवरऑल, लेकिन अगर आप वो चेंज स्टार्ट कर देंगे तो एटलीस्ट इट विल हैव इम्पैक्ट. तो वो तो चैट जीपीटी भी हमारी ज़िंदगी में बहुत, सिर्फ हमें लगता है उसका मकसद सिर्फ यही है कि हम वहाँ से चीज़ें जनरेट करें. हालांकि वो भी अगर आप उस पर रिसर्च करना शुरू करें तो वो भी आपको बहुत सारी इनकरेक्ट इन्फॉर्मेशन देता है.
Please, ma'am.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम. एक तो बहुत सारी, मेरा ख्याल है मौजू ऐसा है कि इस पे हमें पूरा एक दिन चाहिए डिस्कशन के.
बेशक.
आपके पास बहुत कुछ है कहने के लिए और शेयर करने के लिए. बहुत सारी बातें बहुत सारे लोगों ने कह दी. डॉक्टर सवेरा की बहुत सारी चीज़ों से मैं बड़ी मुत्तफिक हूँ. और मेरा ख्याल है कि स्कूल लेवल पे आप फॉर्मल एजुकेशन की बात नहीं है, इट्स ऑल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम होम. جب آپ اپنے بچے کو سکھا دیتے ہیں کہ اس نے ڈسٹ بن میں چیزیں کیسے پھینکنی ہیں اور ریسائکلیبل چیزیں کیسے اس نے یوز کرنی ہیں اور اس نے پلاسٹک کو نہیں یوز کرنا. گھر میں آپ کہتے ہیں آپ نے کوک کی چھوٹی بوتلیں نہیں لے کے آنی کیونکہ پلاسٹک زیادہ کنزیوم ہو جائے گی. سو بہت ساری چیزیں کر سکتی ہیں. مجھے لگتا ہے کہ ایک تو ہمیں ایک ایگریسو جو میڈیا لٹریسی ہے، اٹس اے لانگ ٹرم پلان. ہم بہت زیادہ اس کی بات کرتے ہیں، ہمیں شاید بہت ایگریسو کرنے کی ضرورت ہے. ہم نے کل بہت زیادہ بات کی کہ ہماری اینیمیٹڈ جو ہے ایک پریزنٹیشن بڑی امپورٹنٹ تھی، اس پہ بڑے لوگوں نے انٹرسٹ لیا. سو وی نیڈ ٹو ایکچولی یوز دا پاپولر جانراز لائک ٹک ٹاک, like reels, like shorts, like advertisements, and the CSR corporate social responsibility is very important. تو ہمیں یہ انتظار نہیں کرنا ہے کہ 25 سال کے بعد کئی میڈیا لٹریٹ لوگ ایک جنریشن آئے گی اور وہ ان چیزوں کو کر رہی ہوگی. اور ڈاکٹر صاحب, ڈاکٹر شفیق سے ایک میرا سوال یہ ہے کہ ریسرچ کی ہم بہت زیادہ بات ہم سب کرتے ہیں اور یس آئی ڈو ایز اے ریسرچر آئی ڈو بلیو کہ ریسرچ از ویری امپورٹنٹ. لیکن کیا ایسا نہیں ہے کہ جو ریسرچز ہیں اس کی ٹارگیٹ آڈینس اور اس کا جو ریڈر ہے وہ ایک بڑی لمیٹیڈ ریسٹرکٹیڈ سی کمیونٹی ہے, اور بہت ساری ریسرچز جو ہم کرتے ہیں وہ صرف یا شیلفز میں رہ جاتی ہیں یا جو پبلش بھی ہوتی ہیں وہ اس طرح سے یوٹیلائز نہیں ہوتی ہیں. ہمیں یہاں پہ چونکہ گراس روٹ لیول پہ ایک چینج لانے کی ضرورت ہے with particular reference to climate change. So please اس کے حوالے سے بتا دیجیے کہ وہاں پہ ریسرچ کہاں امپورٹنٹ رہ جاتی ہے.
آپ نے بہت خوبصورت بات کی. I think we need to talk about on 2 points regarding that. ہمیں گلوبل ناردرن جو ایپسٹمالوجیز ہیں ریسرچ کی ان سے ذرا باہر آنا چاہیے اور ہمیں اپنی لوکل ریالٹیز کو سامنے رکھ کے ایکسپلور کرنا ہے. پرٹیکولرلی جو یہ ایکالوجی ہے یا ایکو سسٹم ہے بیہائنڈ دا مس انفارمیشن, ان کو ہمیں سورسز کو ڈھونڈنا ہے, اس میں موٹیویشنز کیا ہیں. اور جو آپ نے دوسری بات کی ہے وہ بہت امپورٹنٹ بات ہے, وہ یہ ہے کہ ہمیں اس وقت جس چیز کی سب سے زیادہ ضرورت ہے کہ وی نیڈ ٹو گو بیانڈ دا پبلشنگ فار peers, publishing for peers to public engagement. ہمیں اپنے پیئرس کے لیے اپنی سائنٹیفک کمیونٹی کے لیے ہی نہیں پبلش کرنا, ہمیں اس کے کینوس کو براڈ کرنا ہے. اسی لیے میں بات کر رہا ہوں کہ وین ایور یو گیٹ پبلش ان سم جرنل یو نیڈ ٹو شیئر یور فائنڈنگس ود ادرس تھرو پوڈ کاسٹنگ, تھرو رائٹنگ این op-ed پیج پیس اینڈ سملر تھنگس, سو دیٹ آپ کی جو ہے وہ جنگل میں مور ناچا کس نے دیکھا, آپ صرف ایک جگہ تک ہی اس نالج کو نہ رکھیں, اس کی پبلک انگیجمنٹ بھی بنانی چاہیے اور سوسائٹل ویل بینگ کے لیے اس نالج کا استعمال ہونا چاہیے.
ایک چیز صرف ایک منٹ صرف ایک بات ایڈ کرنا چاہوں گی کہ جنگل میں جو مور ناچتا ہے اس کو بھی ناچنے دینا چاہیے, بیکاز آپ کا جو اکیڈیمیا ہے اس کی ایک بہت اسپیسیفک ٹارگیٹ آڈینس ہے. آپ کا جو انٹرنیشنل آپ کا گلوبل لیول کے اوپر ہماری ریپرزنٹیشن نہیں ہے, سو ہمیں اس ریپرزنٹیشن کے لیے وی نیڈ ٹو ہیو مور ریسرچرز. ہم اس کی ٹارگیٹ آڈینس آپ کی گلوبل ہے, آپ کے گلوبل پلیٹ فارمس پہ آپ کے جو مسائل ہیں وہ جائیں گے تو بات ہوگی اور تو ان کے سولوشن کی طرف آئیں گے. آپ عام پبلک ریسرچ عام پبلک کے لیے ہوتی بھی نہیں ہے نارملی. آپ ان کو وہی والی بات ہے کہ اپنے طریقے سے آسان الفاظ میں وہ پبلک کو اس سے کیٹر کریں کہ اس مطلب وہ دونوں چیزوں کو لائک دے شوڈ گو ہینڈ ان ہینڈ, لائک سائڈ بائی سائڈ سائملٹینیس. اور دوسری بات یہ کہ میڈیا لٹریسی ہمیں بالکل اسکولوں میں پڑھانا شروع کریں گے تو 25 سال بعد ہمیں ملیں گے میڈیا لٹریٹ لوگ, لیکن اگر آپ ابھی سے ان کو پڑھانا شروع کر دیں گے تو آپ کو امید تو ہوگی نا کہ 25 سال بعد ملیں گے. نہیں کریں گے تو 25 سال بعد وہ بھی نہیں ملیں گے. دوسرا ہے کہ ورک شاپس اور سیشنز کے تھرو ابھی بھی جو لوگ ہیں ان کے دماغ میں بہت ساری چیزیں ڈالی جا سکتی ہیں, سو دیر از اے روم فار دیٹ.
Thank you, ma'am. It was excellent session.
میں اس میں ایڈ کرنا چاہوں گا. I would like to add on this one point in that, like I think جو ریسرچ ہے it is also for the broader consumption of the common people, because ہم نے the most viral paper, my research paper is about journalistic routines as journalistic routines as factors promoting COVID-19 misinformation in Pakistan. کیوں ہم نے اخبارات میں دیکھا کہ دیر ور سو مینی انسیڈنٹس وچ ور بینگ رپورٹڈ ان دا نیوز پیپرس, جو کہ ایونچولی کیا تھا, کووڈ-19 کی ویکسین لگنے سے جرمنی کے اندر 17 لوگ جو ہیں ان کو وہ مر گئے, اتنے لوگوں کو پیرالائسز ہو گیا, اتنے لوگوں کو یہ ہو گیا. ایونچولی اس ٹائپ کی جو انفارمیشن اخباروں میں مس انفارمیشن جو اسپریڈ ہو رہی تھی اس کو دیکھنا اکیڈیمیا کا کام ہے, اور اس پیپر میں سے نیوز پیپرز میں سے ایسی انفارمیشن کو نکال کے اس کو نالج کا پارٹ بنا کے اور اس کو پھر لوگوں کے ساتھ شیئر کرنا جو ہے دس اندر ٹائپ آف ریسرچ جو ہمیں رائٹ ناؤ. ڈاکٹر صاحب کی بات بالکل ٹھیک ہے, ہمیں اپنے جو پیئرز ہیں ان کی انفارمیشن کے لیے بھی, بٹ فار دا پبلک انگیجمنٹ بھی ہمیں ریسرچ کو ایکسپینڈ.
A tiny question from the panelist. I am Alisha, a working journalist. I'm just talking about like every impossible have possible. Same like information, disinformation have information in it. Is it true? Being a journalist, we always rely on the reliable source. Either is it true or not? Once an information passed on through by my respectable teacher, Rafiq, I have to mention it in my write-up. Is it true? From Second World War to till now, Iraq War. Every war is being conducted by information, disinformation. Even
Okay.
at the end of the war, Bush said it was misinformed. I was misinformed by my team that there was not mass destructive weapons were available over there in Iraq.
Right.
What you will say? Sorry for the all respectable panelists. What would you say about the source, a reliable source? Even then, information or disinformation is another story to tell.
ٹھیک ہے.
But what about the
سوال آ
source?
گیا.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Please
If
go.
I can respond to it, Ji, thank you for your question. So I feel that when we ask people, experts for their views, we just don't ask one person for their views. So I was just working on a story on two snow leopards. The proposal to export them to Russia. So the Ministry of Climate Change is working on it. So I spoke to someone at the Wildlife Department in Gilgit-Baltistan. I spoke to the DG of WWF. I spoke to Ashik Ahmed Khan, a senior expert. I spoke to someone at the Snow Leopard Foundation. So I spoke to 4 different experts to form my own opinion and then finalize the story.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So just working on
Run
one
out of
expert
time.
will never be the solution. And with regards to the misinformation and disinformation, the recent escalation with India was a very serious one. So the chairman, Joint Chief of Staff, General Sahir Shamshad, said that the next escalation will be the whole of India, the whole of Pakistan, and it was something very
Will not be confined to the borders.
It was very concerning for me when the Indian media was saying that the entire Karachi should be put on fire, destroy everything, wipe them out. I mean, a city of 20 million people should be wiped out. This is the narrative they are promoting. God forbid if there is a war, it comes down to our own survival.
Of course.
So we have to fight that disinformation for the sake of our survival, because God forbid if they want to decimate us, they will, their population is being groomed in a way that they have to annihilate us. They have to stop our waters. They have to starve us. This is the narrative that is being promoted on that side. And we have to counter that narrative. We have to tell those people, the Indian, the educated class, that, we are human beings. We need water to survive. We have the right to live. And, you respect our national boundaries. You live on that side. We live on this side.
Right.
Yeah, as a respectable partners.
Thank you.
Then that means that who's credible for you and which source you are relying on. And it's not necessary the source you are relying on has to be the credible. आपने कहा डॉक्टर शफीक साहब की तरफ से कोई बात आएगी तो मेरी credible होगी. It's not compulsory. So you need to see कि आप किन resources को और किन sources को देख रहे हैं. जैसे he has mentioned that one source is not enough. और हमारे यहाँ एक और trend है. बहरहाल आप जितनी मर्जी कह लें कि हमें attribution देनी है और बताना है. जिसका opinion नहीं डालना होता ना, वो हम कह देते हैं we contacted the person but they didn't respond. Yeah, he didn't respond. So ये भी चीज़ें exist करती हैं जिसकी वजह से information पका के आप तक पहुंच जाती है. And like for your question and the opinion, Arsha, you mentioned that the reporter has pressures and everything. We completely agree with that. Media is a business. Media is not a social work anymore. Unfortunately, media is doing that. But the thing is कि जो pressure है सारा कुछ है, उसमें भी रिपोर्टर को हर बंदे को रिस्पॉन्सिबल होना चाहिए. तो nobody asks रिपोर्टर कि आप अपनी मर्जी की खबर पका के दे दें. हाँ, it's a group and we are trying to bring policy makers and journalists, and we have been in consultation with them as well, and everybody agrees on that. Nobody says and nobody wants to spread misinformation. and yes, we need the collaboration, we work together. Isolation mein kaam nahi hota. And I just want to quote the example ke jo humne recent conflict mein dekhi hai, पाक इंडिया कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में देखी है. सारा दिन आपका सोशल मीडिया सैटरडे को ट्रेंड कर रहा था शिवांगी सिंह का. दैट वाज ट्रेंडिंग एंड आई वाज टॉकिंग टू माय हस्बैंड एंड आई वाज आस्किंग हिम, यार ये शिवांगी सिंह मिल गई है तो नजर क्यों नहीं आती है, मीडिया क्यों नहीं बोल रहा कि शिवांगी है. बट मीडिया किसी चैनल के ऊपर देयर वाज नॉट इवन वंस आई सॉ दैट न्यूज कि शिवांगी सिंह है कि नहीं है. सो उसके बाद आपका वो डिनाइल उन्होंने भी दे दिया. बट उसके बाद फिर एक बंदा मेरे ऑफिस में बैठ के उसने कहा नहीं आई एम वेरी मच श्योर दैट देयर इज. सो ये वाली जो चीज़ें और एटीट्यूड्स हैं, ये फिर हमें सिचुएशन टू सिचुएशन नहीं रहना चाहिए, इनके ऊपर हमें सस्टेनेबल जो है ना.
Thank you, Dr. Savera. This session is now closed. Thank you very much. I have a tip over the lunch. If you skip having photos, you can ask all your questions.